We are now live. Hello, welcome everybody back to another episode of the Progress Report. A do-over from last week. Apologies to everybody for the technical issues. It does appear to be working this time though, so we got a good show for you lined up. I'm joined by Steve Franssen, a political commentator, a musician, an author. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good, man. It's a beautiful day up here in Montana. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for being here. And of course, Chrissie Mayr, I'm sure most people probably familiar, a comedian and Simpcast, known for the Simpcast and what's the nerd chronic thing?
Friday Night Tights. It's on every Friday at 4 p.m. on Nerdrotics channel.
There you go. You were on like Compound Censored or something, weren't you? Or
yes, I was a part of Compound Media before the merger. I did a show there for 5 years, and then Compound and Censored merged together. But really, all Censored really wanted was Anthony's show, and everybody else kind of just got the boot unceremoniously. So onward and upward. It was a good run.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for being here. We got a good show lined up. Like I said, you know the routine. We're going to watch some clips, give our takes. As for super chats, we'll do those at the end of the show. Or if you do $10 plus, you'll get a text to speech on the alerts. Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah. So the first one, most people, if you're on Twitter, you probably saw this one already, but I thought we should start off with a banger here. Actually pretty hard to watch.
Oh, this like hurts my soul. Hold on, is that an earbud in their belly button?
It looks
is
like
that an Apple earbud?
It looks like the thing they put on babies when they like tie off the
clip their umbilical.
Yeah.
This is so sad. Of course, as a comedian, like my impulse to everything is how can I make a joke out of this? But I feel like I can't because this is such an obvious case of child abuse. Like there's no child that is there's no child that's trans, number one. Number two, like certainly and not one who can't even who can't express themselves properly. You know, this is like 100% the doing I believe of the mom. Like she just wants some kind of brownie points for mutilating her child to be part of this this club of parents of trans kids, and it just makes me so sad for this kid.
You know, it's so hard to believe that I was wondering if, you know, when this went viral on Twitter and I was kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop where we would find out this was actually like some extreme breast cancer intervention or something like that, right? And I tried to look into it and I couldn't find specifically on this video any more information, but I can tell you there are many documented cases of not just people with Down syndrome, but children with Down syndrome being transitioned medically. So it is a real phenomenon. And the hair, I think, is kind of the dyed hair is kind of a giveaway, isn't it? That this is probably some kind of
really
LGBT
sad
cult activity. Yeah, Steve, did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, do we have any background on this person? Is this a minor? I mean, it looks like very young.
It's a trans kid. It's like and the mom. I don't know. I guess she is in charge of the social media, but she very much markets this as a disabled trans kid.
Oh my God! Mom running. That's a huge red flag. That reminds me of that Desmond is Amazing drag queen kid.
Oh, that's another one.
Yeah.
This is that Munchausen by proxy syndrome where the mom abuses the kid to get attention.
Mm-hmm.
Classic case of this. So.
That's exactly what it is. I'm just gonna mute it and let it play.
Yeah, I can't even listen. Yeah. It's just like it's so grotesque. It's like this kind of person would be in like the circus or something, you know?
Yeah.
150 years ago.
Should not be legal to do that.
No.
What's the craziest thing that's happened to you at BYUI?
Someone asked me to shake the bed for soaking once.
And what'd you say?
Gotta help your friends out sometimes.
Who is a more important historical figure?
Shake?
Martin Luther King Jr. or Joseph Smith?
What did you say? Shake the bed for soaking?
Yeah.
Yeah, do you know what soaking is?
This is
Like
Mormon
squirting?
land
Is this
now,
a
I think.
squirting? Oh no. Okay, never
No.
mind. So not at a Mormon, right? It's Brigham Young. So I have no idea what they just said.
Well, if you don't like, I guess if you don't do the thrusting yourself, it doesn't count as sex according to the Mormons. So what they do is I don't know how I know this. I learned this
You
from
don't
Groyper. I know this.
do this.
I learned this
You
from
don't
Groypers.
Trust
The
yourself. It
Groypers
doesn't
told me
count.
about this. Yeah, if you don't trust yourself, so you get in position, then you have someone shake the bed.
Yeah.
And
So
then-
soaking is you just insert and then you don't move, and then
Oh,
it's
okay,
not
right.
sex. But then if you want to take it to the
Oh,
next
wow.
level, you have your friend jump on the bed. And then it's still, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of like the Jews who are like,
Yes.
here's how to have coffee
Yes.
on Sabbath or
What do they
whatever.
call it?
And
What
they
do
got
they
all
call it?
these
They get it-
loopholes to trick
They
God.
get a Gentile to like go around and turn
Yeah,
on
the
light
Shabbos
switches
goy.
and yeah, Shabbos goy. I think everything I learned was maybe from Seinfeld, but yeah, you have somebody go around and push buttons for you and turn on your toaster and whatnot. I mean, that's just a recipe for nobody to come. Basically, if you have to invite your friend in to jump on the bed.
I find it really hard to believe that people are actually doing that. Like she says it like that's real, but is she just trolling? I mean, that's
No, I
insane.
think these kids, they're college kids. They want to do all this stuff. They're probably very
Yeah.
Yeah,
they're
but
probably
when
very
you're that young,
conflicted.
sex is so like awkward already. Now you're bringing
Yeah.
in another person to jump on the bed. I
To
would
jump on
never.
the
I
bed.
could never personally.
It's called a chaperone. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
It's just I feel for them because they're probably feel a lot of tension and they're like, oh God, we're fighting our temptations, but we're also college kids, and that's what college kids do.
Myth.
Joseph Smith, because he's restored the gospel of my faith, my church.
What's your craziest experience with mutual?
So I went on a mutual date one time. A month later, he was engaged. He was more wanting to just derf, but I was down for derfing.
What's the craziest thing
Derp?
that's happened?
What
to
is
you?
a derfing?
Durfing.
I usually try to
Okay,
stay
Steve.
up on all the Gen Z lingo.
Resident Mormon expert Steve Franssen
Is this like
gonna have to explain
queefing?
to us
Is
what
it like a
derfing
male
is.
queef?
Durfing. So durfing is dry humping, apparently.
Oh,
Yeah.
not a wet hump.
Yeah, not a wet hump. No. Yeah, I grew up next to Mormons. I mean, I never was around any of this stuff, but you hear that you pick up the terminology, like because it's like in their culture now. So, yeah, durfing.
Yeah, was that in Montana or there? I think they're.
Oh, I grew up in
mostly
Oregon. I grew up in Oregon, but it was like kind of a Mormon.
Ooh.
Like there's Mormon towns everywhere. So
Were you near the trail?
yeah, the Oregon Trail ended
Ooh.
like 45 minutes east of me or something like this. So
I didn't even know there was a physical trail. I just know about the game.
yeah, you can walk it still. I mean,
Oh, wow.
it goes through a lot of the U.S. Like it goes around the Snake River and stuff like this. So
No thanks. I don't want to die of dysentery, Steve.
that's right. Yeah.
Steve, do you know what a mutual is in that context?
No, I don't. I'm not sure. A mutual date or something like that. I don't know what that
What's
is.
your craziest experience with mutual?
So I went on a mutual date one time. A month later, he was engaged.
Could it be like a Mormon dating app? I don't know either. You would think I would do some research for the show, but I just don't. I just go in blind.
Oh, mutual is the LDS dating app.
That's what I was thinking. I was going to say maybe because
Okay.
the way he said it, he said your craziest experience with mutual, not a mutual. And when I heard that, I thought, oh, it's probably a dating app. Yeah. Okay.
He was more wanting to just derf, but I was down for derfing.
What's the craziest thing that's happened to you at BYUI?
I heard about someone shaking the bed for their two friends soaking.
Would you rather?
Dude, that's so Mormon.
I love that because the first girl was like, yeah, I shook the bed for two. And then the other girl's just like, the craziest thing is I heard about this. Yeah.
She's like, fine, I was that friend. I was shaking, I was soaking, I was derfing. I did it all.
Have a sip of alcohol or unalive a puppy?
Oh, kill a puppy.
Do you want to break down the thought process?
I think it's just more ethical.
What's the biggest age gap you've seen in a couple?
That is insane.
What?
What is
This
going
woman has
on?
clearly
They seem
not had
like
a hard
such nice
mic.
young kids. They seem like, you know, they seem like the kind of kids that would like help an old lady across the street or whatever. What is this kill a puppy
I
instead
can't
of drink
understand. Right?
alcohol?
Wouldn't you rather take the hit than kill an innocent animal? Like whatever repercussions you get for alcohol in your community.
Yeah, killing an innocent animal. I mean, that was what Chrissie Noem did. If you actually read into, like, she's like, oh, it was the dog didn't have a utility for our farm, so I shot it. And you think about that for a second, like, wait, you couldn't have just given it to somebody else? Like, you couldn't have given it to somebody without a working farm. You had to like shoot this dog.
Or
and then
you can just transition their gender like a normal person.
Right.
Is Christy Noem Mormon? She's not, is she?
No, but she is the DHS head now, so she's in charge of all our national security or a good chunk of it. Right. Brother.
Better start providing utility, everyone.
Yeah.
19 and 34.
What do you think about that?
They're happy, they're happy.
Would you rather have a sip of alcohol or
crazy.
unalive a puppy?
I mean, I've eaten dog before, so kind of tastes like its own thing, you know?
Have you ever...
What is going
What is
on?
going on?
Brother.
What's going on? Like, I understand being deeply convicted to your religious beliefs, but like, again, this is an innocent creature.
Yeah.
What would they say if it was like a baby? Like, where do they draw the line?
Well, it's got to be some Mormon thing. I'm asking ChatGPT, like, why alcohol? Like, why is alcohol such a big no-no? I guess it's just these social consequences is what it's saying. And then ecclesiastical, it would be like it's violating the word of wisdom, and you can't enter the temple if you are drinking.
Wow.
So it's it's a huge thing.
What about a White Claw? What about something with like a low alcohol volume percentage?
There's got to be something in the Christian Bible about not shooting puppies, though, isn't there? Isn't there anything in there about cruelty to animals, or am I just?
Sure, I'm sure there is. Yeah.
Maybe not.
Watched a rated R movie.
Never in my life. Only PG.
How many days does it take to soak?
Maybe like 4.
Bruh.
Wait, what?
That's quick.
Yeah. Are people coming in to feed them or what? They got to be trolling a little bit, these kids. I don't know.
Hold on. Are they saying days or dates?
Oh, dates.
Because if they said dates, like you can go on 4 dates and then you can soak with them. I thought it was saying you're soaking for 4 days straight. Like you're just sitting there.
That's what I heard too. But you must be right.
That's not practical. It's got to be dates. And sometimes I think the
came from FNT a while back. Love Chrissie. We'll check out Steve.
It thought it heard days.
Have some shekels, brother. Lot of hope in the UK for the Trump
the Mormons are a
ascendancy.
trip. I mean, I've lived in Salt Lake for periods of time, and they just have like really funny rule sets. They do really funny things like. So something that the young adults do is they will do like a milk challenge where they go to a track, right? And then they run around the track, and every lap you do, you have to take like a huge chug of milk, and whoever can finish a gallon of milk first wins, but then everybody just ends up puking their guts out, and they think it's really funny, and that's how Mormons are. They've got like a different rule set going, basically.
Yeah, when you can't have alcohol, you have to really work hard to try to have fun in other ways.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Hey, did you guys hear the super chat that just played or no? Could you?
No.
No, it didn't come through.
All right. Okay. That's my bad. He sent $60. So thank you for the big donor.
Nice.
And B-Pat said, come from FNT. That's what, Friday Night Tights.
Yes.
A while back. Love Chrissie. We'll check out Steve. Have some shekels. A lot of hope in the UK for the Trump ascendancy. Thank you, B-Pats, for the big donor. Really appreciate it. Apparently, I got to go back to the drawing board on the audio thing. They're not hearing it. So maybe just don't be surprised if they ignore. Actually, I'll turn it off. I'm just going to turn off the alerts and we'll just read them all at the end because it's not going to work that way. But anyway, this is kind of a longer clip. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the golden one. He's like a Sweden nationalist who's been around for a long time. And he's talking here about some journalists releasing a hit piece on him and what he kind of discovered in that?
All right, perhaps you've seen there's a documentary coming out titled Hacking Hate, and it's a proper hit piece. It features myself, and I know exactly what they're trying to do here because I've been the subject of many a hit piece over all of these years. So they are trying to link me with various hateful or illegal organizations or endeavors or whatever. Now, you can actually fact check me when I say this, that I have never said anything hateful, harmful. I've never encouraged anything illegal, hateful, or violent, or anything that could be interpreted as such. I've only ever been a voice of positivity and love. And I'm not just saying this, you can fact check me. You can look through all of my videos. I've been at it for 10 years. I've made over 50 podcast episodes. I have done many interviews.
That is true, but I don't follow him super closely, but I've followed him for years. And
hold on, is this Hans or Franz?
he's an extremely like wholesome guy. I think he's like actually a really good role model for people. Like he doesn't even swear, this guy.
Wow.
I've written 2 books. There is a lot of content to go through, and I challenge anyone to actually find where and when I've said something that can be interpreted as hateful. So as far as I see it, this is a clear case of projection. She hates white people. She said in an interview, shout out to my man Nicolina, an actual journalist of integrity. He brought it to my attention that she has said that all whites are ugly. So you can only suppose that she's driven by hate herself, and then she's
that already is just, that's every single time, you know what I mean? So this journalist is doing a hit piece about hate, and then she has written or done an interview where she said all white people are ugly.
Wow.
Trying to say that I am hateful then. No, at first I actually felt a bit of empathy for her. I saw a picture of her and I thought, yes, this is a person who has perhaps not had the easiest life, but then she did something and that made all of my empathy disappear completely.
The nicest way insult to call her ugly as possible. My German sister, like he's like, I could not help but notice that she is full of the recessive genes, and she has not been dealt a good hand genetically, unlike myself, who is able to. I am sitting in the snow, and I am not so much as shivering.
Oh shit, that's good.
Immediately, and that is she created a fake profile and she tried to get hold of pictures of our children. So my wife has a private account where it says explicitly, this is for friends and family, this is an account with pictures of our children. She created a fake account, this My journalist, this My Wingren. She created a fake account pretending to be a nationalist and tried to follow that private account of ours. So then we can only ask, why Me? Why do you want pictures of our children? I don't think it's for any good purpose at all, and this is of course not acceptable in the least. At first I thought this is just another hit piece. I know exactly what the purpose is. It's to paint a target on my back, to try to associate me with perhaps illegal activities or violent activities or hateful activities. That is one thing, but when you try to find pictures of my family like that, it's something completely else. So I am in contact with the police. We're looking into legal action as well, and even if it's all legal, I would encourage everyone in the Sweden Democrats, everyone in the moderates, parties of law and order supposedly, that you could look into this, because I don't think you nor I want to live in this type of Soviet era state. It's not okay. It's not acceptable in the least with these hit pieces, and I'm hardly the first one who suffers from it. So definitely something I take serious, and just a message to any malevolent actor that might be looking at this: if you try something, go ahead, try, see what happens.
The whole time I'm imagining like, she made a fake Swedish profile. I'm just like imagining the picture is like of the Swedish chef, you know, like, it is me, your friend, your distant relative, the Swedish chef. I just want to check upon the children. I'm stereotyping Swedish people.
For the win. Yeah. What are you going to do? Journalists, you know? These journalists, man, I tell you.
It's funny to hear him, because obviously he's in Sweden, how often he says hateful content. It's like, wow, that people in other countries are really, that's what we take for granted living in America. And like, as you know, as things get even better now with Trump back, we don't have to worry about people misconstruing like our, oh God, I wasn't being hateful. Oh my gosh, don't come after me. It's so sad. It's really sad that
you can
people have to
literally
be-
just do Nazi salutes on stage with Trump now. It's great.
Yeah.
Right?
Finally, finally.
Yeah,
Yeah, what a relief. Oh, bro. Dude.
How can someone look both skinny and fat at the same time?
You never heard
it's
of
kind of
skinny
amazing.
fat? Hey, look, in Iggy Pop's defense, he is 77. So
Yeah, he's old as hell. I mean, that's always been his thing, but I guess, he's kind of a hedonist or whatever.
Yeah. Might be time to put the shirt on, Iggy, but
Yes.
Have you guys ever seen this movie called The Witch? It's from Robert Eggert or something like this. He just made the Nosferatu film.
Oh, I still haven't seen that.
Yeah, the Witch is really good. The Witch is from 2015, so it's an older one, but it was like his first shot across the bow. It was like him flexing, basically. And putting people on notice, like, hey, I'm really good at this thing. And the Witch actually looks just like Iggy Pop, like same physiognomy. So really spooky, like like the old crone, saggy skin kind of thing. So
And like people give women half his age credit for still not credit, give them shit for still. Oh, you're still trying to look. God forbid you're a woman over 40 still trying to look sexy, but yet this guy is a half in the grave and he's still putting out the vibe.
Right? Yeah, he's
Well, that's brutal. They try to cancel me and say that I'm a racist. Got a mean hook, they can't get me with that jab. Trying to take away my right to go and say this. Well, listen up, cause this gun is going bad. With the facts. Why they trying to turn Becky into Dan? You get screw Eminem. I'm Roseanne.
If you had shown this to me in the 90s, I wouldn't have believed you. I would have laughed and been like, this is not the Roseanne I know.
Yeah, or you would have thought it's like an SNL skit or something, maybe.
Yeah.
It is fabulous. I love her. And you know what? She looks better than Madonna right here.
Yeah. She looks pretty crazy, yeah. This Tom McDonald guy, I mean, what he's like doing, I think he's part of this drive to like get guys into the military. Have you seen some of his recent songs? Or like, I'm a soldier, and there's like they're rapping on tanks.
And that. Yeah. I saw.
So I think he's like he's part of an op. Like
You think so?
Yeah, I think he's into something. These kind of, I don't know. I think everything is an op now. I'm one of these types. Like everything that gets popular now is like the Haktua thing, right? The Haktua thing showed you that. Like she was just part of an op. Like she wasn't like spontaneously popular or whatever. So he was doing a song with Ben Shapiro. Like, this isn't an organic thing. Like they're doing this for a reason.
What do you mean by an op? Like hired by a 3-letter agency to push a specific motive, or like Haktua? I don't think it's
what was the point of the Haktua op in your opinion?
Yeah.
I mean, the point of it,
encouraging more women to spit on that thing, which, by the way, I've never stopped doing, so I didn't need that encouragement.
Yeah.
Some of us never stopped.
Yep. Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what they're driving at. I know that their big push is to push like military numbers up. I mean, because they just plummeted under Biden because nobody wants to go fight for Biden. So, but if they can get a bunch of people to fight for Trump, Tom McDonald, like he's a part of that, right? He's
See, that one makes
he's got like a militaristic thing going.
That one, I think you might be onto something with the whole army recruiting thing. I think there is a push for that happening, and they are using all kinds of tactics to do that because people are kind of smarter now, so you have to be smarter with your propaganda, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, and now they're hiring back all the military that got fired over not getting the jab, and they're getting back pay. So they're really trying to rebuild and strengthen the military, which I'm all for. Get the gays out. No, just make it competent again. Make it so you don't have to lower the physical standards.
Yeah.
I think they just medically like pushed out to see like 15,000 trans people from the army. So
the problem is, like, I was saying this on my show earlier this week, but like I wish, because it was like the Sam Hyde Vivek video came out and I was watching that and somebody was talking about being in the military, and I was saying like I wish the military was like a much better, more viable option for young men, because the economy is so difficult now. That could be a way to get started in life. But I really don't recommend young men to join the military, because I just don't feel like they really care about you, and you're gonna potentially get killed, you know? What do you think,
Well,
Steve?
yeah, you see. Oh, sorry, I'm not Steve.
Well, I mean, you sign away your bodily autonomy. So, you know, it's a tricky thing. Like, it's not your choice anymore. Like, what happens with your body? Like, they can I don't know. There's some crossover here I'm trying to get at, where women are like, my body, my choice, but then like men go and do all these things where they don't have any choice, and women don't appreciate that. You know, feminists or whatever, they don't appreciate that men are doing these things, and the military is one of those things where men are putting themselves in positions where they have no choice over their body, and they're just supposed to follow the chain of command. And so, yeah, what they're driving at, I mean, I think it's nefarious. Like, the best case scenario for me would be if they brought these overseas bases home, and they patrolled the border, and they got a lot of these tens of millions of illegal immigrants out of the country. But that's not what they're going to do. I mean, they're going to maintain Pax Americana to whatever extent they can, and push against Russia, push against China, and we're going to be back in tension in some way. So, yeah, I don't know what they're driving at with some of this media stuff.
Not
but
Iran
it is
on the list there.
Yeah, Iran, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, and JD Vance, not to belabor the point too much, but you know, JD Vance, the first thing he said when he was selected as vice president was, he said, we got to do airstrikes on Iran. That was the first thing out of his mouth. So
Why did he say that? Why does he want that?
I'm sure he would get a cut of that. I'm sure he'd get some money off of that. I mean, he's in with Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel is in with Palantir. Palantir is part of this like nexus of you know, surveillance tools that they're building with the, you know, through the Fed, or you know, through the military industrial complex. So I'm sure JD Vance is in some way positioned to make money, or maybe he made a deal. Like maybe he made a deal on his senatorship or something, like get me in there, and I'll say certain things and push a certain agenda.
Yeah,
so.
maybe more just what his handlers want. This is the beauty of the show. You play a Tom McDonald clip, and next thing you're talking about Palantir and Peter Thiel psyoping people into the military.
Right. Yeah.
I don't think Americans are making this connection. And the way we can see this in right here and now, take a look at the monthly change in Google searches. Look at the searches for wildfire, up 2,400%. My goodness gracious. This is the most amount of people searching for wildfires ever, going back since Google Trends began back in 2004. But look at climate change. Look at the change. It doesn't go hand in hand with wildfires. It's actually down. It's down 9%. And I also looked in California. There has been no increase in the number of searches for climate change. So the bottom line is this. Americans are definitely interested in learning about these wildfires. They're interested in following the news about the wildfires, but they are not making that connection with climate change.
Bruh.
You guys know that the American Psycho meme where he's like, interesting, very nice, let's see Paul Allen's card or whatever. When I watch the clip, I'm like, interesting, very nice, let's see the searches for direct energy weapons.
Yes,
searches for
thank
space
you.
lasers.
Let's go.
Yeah, no search for Oprah burning down Hawaii. or how come there's no there should be a correlation between wildfires and smart city planning? I don't know.
Yeah, there we go.
Just a few hours ago, I was sentenced to 6 months in prison for projecting White Lives Matter on the Rasmusbrug. Whether you agree with this message or not, this shows that the system is fundamentally anti-white and free speech is a lie.
That's a Proud Boys shirt he's wearing.
This is in Australia, right? Erasmus Bridge.
I think it's in like Poland or Hungary or something. I think because it was like particularly surprising that this guy got the jail time that he did. It was in one of these like really white countries that are pretty explicitly white. I think anyway. I'm not sure. And you know, just judging off his accent.
Netherlands. It's in Rotterdam.
Wherever he's from, this lighting is making him look like a jack-o'-lantern. It's not flattering.
I mean, the only obvious thing to say about this is that if the message was something else, he wouldn't be put in prison, right? But it's fucked up because like white lives matter is a pretty innocuous message. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, but that's in the Netherlands, so that's my bad.
Wow.
And
which isn't, correct me if I'm wrong, Netherlands pretty white, is it not?
It is, but it is, you know, those Scandinavian countries, they're not quite as based as like the Poland, Czech places. They're a little bit more socialist and that, but hopefully they come around.
Yeah. And there's been a rise in anti-Semitism all over the country right now, and it's disgusting and it's horrible. People should know that one of the first things that the Nazis did, and I think it was in 1933, was they burned Magnus Hirschfeld's gender for sexuality. Magnus Hirschfeld was studying trans people, LGBTQ people. Lily Elby, who the Danish Girl, the film The Danish Girl was about, she had her first gender-affirming procedure at Magnus Hirschfeld's clinic. The Nazis burned it down. All of this research. And there were...
Oh no, they burned it down? Oh, how could they?
That would explain why all these growing a penis on your arm surgeries are failing, because they nailed it down perfectly.
Right.
And they burnt it all down. So we forgot how to make new genitals.
Yeah, we've lost the tech, just like we can't put a man on the moon anymore.
Yeah.
Good point.
But what's the downside though? Okay, so they burned that down, but what's the downside to the
Nazis?
But the kind of anger that is just bitter, just like selfish kind of anger, no one wants to be around this kind of person, and the person's poisoning himself. The person can't work so good. That's mind control. Negativity is really mind control. Depression controls the mind now. Can't work. Anger controls the mind. You can't work. Sorrow. Some people hold sorrow for years. And you want to visit them and cheer them up, but it doesn't do anything. You get them the chance to transcend and watch what happens. Sorrow will lift away. They'll be back on the road.
That is, of course, famous filmmaker David Lynch, who passed away last week, so we had to have a little tribute to him there. What a guy, man. The kind of guy to just be like, let them transcend and not elaborate at all on what that means. Like, just let them transcend, bro, and watch how their depression goes away.
Yeah.
I
like that message.
Is he talking about drugs?
Well, he's a transcendental meditation guy.
Okay. There we go.
Yeah. So a lot of celebrities are like this. So Jerry Seinfeld is another huge one. You can look up a list. Like there's like tons of Hollywood is like this. And
if it has trans in front of it, Hollywood's gonna go for it.
Yeah, they're all about it. Yeah, but they go inside. They have it. You pay $800 to somebody, and they give you they size you up, and then they give you your word that you're supposed to go like whatever sound it is, and then you do that every day, 3 times a day.
Really?
And you're supposed to go down. Yeah, it's a mantra, exactly. And you go deep down inside and you quiet what's inside so that you can be a good vessel for, I guess in their case, it'd be creativity. So
interesting.
Yeah, so that's what he's after in that clip.
So it's just like a replacement for God or religion.
Yeah, it kind of is. I mean, they say it's science driven, and it's, but a lot of these Satanists do that.
Yeah,
to legitimize
like
themselves.
That creeps me out a
science.
Little bit. Yeah,
we don't need religion because we have science. Yeah.
If you're emptying your mind, it's like you're making room for something else to come in. That's why I get scared a little bit. My thing is video games. When I want to shut off my brain, I do video games because it takes my focus. And so my mind is not empty. I'm simply distracted, for an hour or whatever. And then I go back to hating life after.
Yeah.
Somebody's campaign coffers really are struggling right now. So she gonna keep saying trans so that people will feel threatened. And child, listen, I want y'all to tell me whether or
Do
not
call me a child. I am no child.
I want
Don't
to
even
find
start.
out
I am a grown
which
woman.
of those
I'm 47 years
emails
old. I have broken
actually
more
have
glass ceilings than you
Chairman,
ever
I am reclaiming my time.
You will not do that. I
Order.
am not a child.
I am reclaiming my time.
I wish I could see the woman that's yelling at her.
Pretty sure it's Nancy Mace.
Yeah, she's in the far right.
Oh, I love her.
Under the flag.
Big Nancy Mace fan here.
I'm a big Nancy Mace fan.
All I know is it's someone's time of the month. Am I right, guys?
I want to take it outside.
Mr. Chairman, the committee is not in order.
There you go.
Point of order. Point of order.
When I was 8 years old, in that appointment where I remember clear as day, my doctor holding up the growth chart, she asked me what my favorite food was, and I said tomatoes. And my mom, bless her heart, was like, but you love mac and cheese.
Oh, dude.
And then it was this whole thing of, well, cat's out of the bag or something or whatever. Like, I'm like,
so do a lot of skinny people love mac and cheese.
But my favorite food is tomatoes. I eat tomatoes to this day. I eat tomatoes basically every day. Like,
Sure. Don't lie. Don't buy tomatoes. There's tomatoes in pizza.
Yeah, I was gonna say how often is it pizza sauce that we're talking about? Exactly.
There you go.
Like, why is the assumption that I was like hiding that, or why is that even really relevant? Like, right. You asked me as an 8-year-old what my favorite food was, and I said it was a fruit vegetable.
Yeah, and that's what is like so insidious in the culture in general. A, they don't believe that a fat person could be like healthy, and B, think that they have more of a right with someone that's like fat to like pick their diet apart, or just like to just involve themselves.
Oh my God. It's like, I hope we're ending the era of fat people thinking that they're healthy. Lizzo's losing weight now. That might be the last straw there. It's just so funny. Like, can we stop like patting fat people on the back for having fruit? Like,
yeah, and I think a big thing with the fat people is a lot of that's driven because they want to, especially with girls, they want to push away unwanted sexual attention.
Yes, and a lot of times they're abused, and they literally are gaining weight. I had a friend who always very overweight, and the more I got to know her, she was like, "Yeah, I was like molested or I don't know, it was raped." It's really horrible, but they're literally creating a physical barrier from that abuse.
Right.
Anyway, this clip.
You just really like tomatoes.
You just really like tomatoes. Yeah. Mac and cheese.
Can't get enough tomatoes.
Hello there, my name's John. I'm calling from your local Labour Party.
Labour can fuck off. Labour, fuck this country right up. Fuck off, go on, fuck off. Fucking Labour, all they've done to this country, all they're for is fucking Muslims and all the shit. That's all they want in this country. This country's fucked. You fucking lot. Go and fuck off.
Okay.
Is the Labour Party like their Democratic Party, basically?
Yeah, basically. But their conservative party over there is not much. It's actually more like their conservative is the Democrat, and the Labour Party is like whatever's left of the Democrats here in
like
the US.
Uber progressive. Okay.
Yeah. Here's what I want to know. If bullying is wrong, then why do I enjoy this video so much?
because he's on his own property. This guy came up to his house. He can say whatever he wants in front of his own Ring camera.
So true.
Yeah, and white man needs to grow a spine. I mean, like the days, like, the Sam Hyde clip, he's making a video for Vivek or whatever, and he's saying that the time has come where if somebody wants to argue in bad faith, they want to argue that they're American as well, they're just going to be called a slur, and that's just how we're going to proceed from here. And, that's just how generally people are feeling. Like, the debate is kind of over. Like the ideas have been settled, and are you going to get with that or not? So, these people, like, their country's disappeared. I mean, the UK is evaporated. Like, are we really going to be like trying to get votes for Labour? So it's the same kind of thing.
Yeah. And him saying, all you want is Muslims, that's really getting to like the heart of the matter, right? Like, that's the thing you're not supposed to say. And I wouldn't be surprised if the police showed up at his door to ask him about his comments, because they take that stuff pretty seriously over there.
Wow.
But yeah, it's nice to see a guy who, has a spine, as you said.
There's nothing wrong with having a feeling about watching your culture disappear. Mm-hmm. That's not wrong.
Yeah.
Fucking Labour scum.
Let's go.
I'm gonna ask you again because I want to be clear. Is what is the God you believe in?
I think that the claim that Christ is the embodiment of the prophet and the laws, I think that's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
That's complicated. It's very, very complicated.
Bruh.
But I think it's true.
So you believe that Jesus was
God?
God.
Yeah.
Let's go. Jordan
Why is this a clip? It seems like a very obvious observation here.
Well, the reason it's noteworthy is because for like the last 5 years, every time somebody has asked Jordan Peterson if he believes in God or if he believes in Jesus, they've been met with like 5 minutes of word salad.
Okay.
That pretty much amounts to what the fuck is he trying to say? So he's just like, yeah. So that's what makes it noteworthy.
Okay. Oh, I didn't know that he was dancing around that before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think actually his daughter Michaela has converted like first, and maybe she pulled him more towards. I don't know exactly. I'm just speculating. But I
like Michaela.
Well,
you don't?
No comment.
Oh my God, what happened?
Let's go.
I don't know. She's okay. She just has like some she has some bad tweets, like the one where there was that whole Nazi rat thing. I don't know if you remember that with the Groypers, and she's kind of like she was basically like arguing for censorship. Like she was basically saying like these people don't deserve to have Twitter accounts, and that was a few months ago. But there's some things like that. But I mean, I don't really.
And she's speaking about America as like the royal we. Like she's American already. You know, she's only been here like 2-3 months, and she's like, we don't need this, we don't need that.
Yeah, she weighed in on the H-1B thing. You're right, and was like, yeah, of course we want all these skilled migrants. You know, and it's like, yo, you just left Canada because it got turned into Mumbai. What are you doing? You know, so
yeah,
I'm sure she's like a nice person.
Would you let a Jew work out in your gym without paying if he claimed that the membership was promised to him by God 4,000 years ago?
Yo. Bro, you are fucking...
That's a good question.
Yo, you're fucking funny. Nah, I mean, everyone pays.
What if it was
Dude, that is fucking so funny.
God promised it to him. He said that it's yours and that they'll try to take it away from you. But he promised it to him, according to the Jew, I guess.
So then you're talking like God promised him this years ago before the gym was ever open, that he would have a free member, or just anything free.
I guess, well, hypothetically in this story, if I'm just referencing it with other, just trying to make
other text,
just other experiences, I would imagine that maybe there was like a different gym opened there 4,000 years ago, and that he thinks now he gets a membership to yours too.
Yeah, I see. He'd probably just pay like anyone else.
What if he tried bombing you for that?
Bro, I mean, that would be like some crazy crime, some act of, I don't even know, terror. I don't know.
Are you taking a political stance right now?
Let's go.
Yeah, pretty funny.
You guys clever.
Yeah. Did you guys see this? The Tourette's girl with the new show on TLC.
No, there's a new person with Tourette's.
Yeah, you're in for a treat here. She's got a show on TLC about living with Tourette's.
Hi everybody, my name is Balin, and I have a 9-inch penis. God damn. God damn. God damn! John 3:12 scumbag. I have Tourette's syndrome, and I have a show coming out on Monday called Balin Out Loud. And I wanted to just clarify that you're bald. God damn! Line it up. I wanted to just clarify that this show is about my life with Tourette. This isn't about me being the face of Tourette. This is not being shown as an example of what Tourette looks like in everyone. This show is dedicated about what my life is like living with Tourette. And it's not about basically, I'm not the face of Tourette. Everyone's Tourette case is different in everybody, but this is just a reminder. The show Balin Out Loud is about me living with Tourette, not what Tourette looks like in every single body.
All these people should be funneled into stand-up comedy. They would be hilarious, and that's where they would excel.
It's a weird one because like I always have like a strong suspicion that they're faking or just playing into it heavily. But then you also think like, what if they're not? What if that's really like they just have no control over those outbursts? So you don't really want to like accuse them. But this is like a trend on the internet. Young girls go on TikTok and they develop these tics. They develop these conditions, disorders. They'll say they have DID, which is like multiple personality, dissociative identity disorder. Tourette's is another big one that's been spreading in the TikTok era.
Man,
why not yell out you have a 4-inch penis then? You know what I mean? Why go 9? Why do the better amount of inches?
That's a good question.
That's a very favorable outburst.
I mean, I do think you're right, Chrissie. Like in the case of this particular girl, Balin, I think she's very funny to the point where it's like I don't care that much if she's faking or not. She's like if she is faking, she's kind of a comedic genius. If she's not faking, then there's then that's just what it is.
I'm obsessed with Love on the Spectrum.
Oh, it's a good show.
So I'm sure I will enjoy watching.
What's this? Love on the Spectrum.
Oh my
What's
God,
this?
Steve, stop what you're doing. Cancel your plans for tonight and watch Netflix's Love on the Spectrum. I think they're in at least the second season now. And you see autistic people or whatever, if they're Asperger's or autistic, and they're going on blind dates, they're trying to find love, and there's so many hilarious characters. Like there's this one guy in particular who like loves Renaissance fairs and is just like hyper obsessed with it. But he also is like pro-abortion too. Like
wow.
Each of these people are such a character.
It really is top tier reality TV.
Yeah.
They're just so wholesome and innocent. it's great.
And then, but you're like this one girl, some of them have like incredibly like higher standards than like you or I would ever have for somebody. This one girl was like, he has to be into animation. He has to own his own animation company. He has to do all like she required them to have exactly the same likes and dislikes as her. And like, I was like, my God, like this girl's very confident for being this autistic.
I love it. I got to check that out. Is it like, do they have, is this where this guy that like counts trains and like gets excited about trains? Is he on this show?
There's no train guy.
No train guy. Okay. No autism show.
They probably know him. I'm sure they all know each other.
Yeah, I'll check it out. That sounds great.
I think we have become very, very focused on mental health. And with people self-diagnosing on mental health. And I think we need a proper public conversation about that because, I think it's a very, very difficult question. We're spending vastly more on mental health now than we did a few years ago. And it's hard to see what the objective reasons for that are. And if we're not careful, we get into a position where people, life has its ups and downs and everybody experiences those. And you've got to be careful of encouraging people to think they've got some sort of condition other than, simply confronting the challenges of life.
I think this is a really interesting clip, and I think this is a topic that needs more discussion. As he's saying, because like they're in the UK, they have government-funded healthcare, and the expenditure through that they're putting on people's therapy or whatever mental health spending is like unsustainable, is what he's saying. And I find it interesting because we just had this Luigi Mangione, United Healthcare CEO thing. And I looked into that after it happened because a lot of people were saying like United Healthcare denies like 3 times the claims and they use AI to decide if you live or die and that. And I looked into it, and what I found in my research, I'm not saying this is the final word on it, but what I found was they were denying therapy claims. They had instituted a policy where it was like, if you had 30 therapy sessions in 8 months, you didn't get any more therapy for like the rest of the year or whatever. And that was like, that's why they had such a high denial rate, because they were saying, no, we're not going to pay for you to go talk to your therapist, twice a week. And the AI claim, if you guys heard that, it was literally just a system that flagged how many sessions you had. And if you hit the threshold, then they would have a human call your therapist and be like, what's going on with this person? And if your therapist was like, well, they're really concerned about climate change or whatever, like then they'd be like, all right, we're not paying for the rest of the year. So that's the story there. So this is like a growing problem that is getting very little attention. What do you guys think?
Yeah, when it's that's the thing that they have to confront when they have when everybody's tax dollars pays for everybody's health care. If you move to the US, you can go to as much therapy as you want because you're paying for it yourself. But they're starting to be like, yeah, we got to put a cap on this because there is a social contagion aspect to this sort of like mental health epidemic. I think it's just too much anxiety, too much social media, too much, honestly, time on your hands and not being busy enough. If you're sitting around thinking what's wrong with me and you have all the time in the world to like diagnose yourself and all the internet in the world, you'll come up with something. We probably each of us could have be like, oh no, this is what I have. This is my particular affliction. When it's just like, yeah, maybe you just need to be a little bit busier and like put your phone down.
Yeah. There's that old Ronald Reagan quote that the best mental health program is a job. And I've never met a person that was full-time employed that had time for mental illness. So a lot of mental illness, I think, people have real difficulties and they have troubled histories and all that. But it just doesn't come to like consume you if you're working, if you have responsibilities. And so what is this? This is indicative of like a dead economy. Basically, we live in zombie economy world where wages have been stagnant for decades and the manufacturing base is gone. The UK used to have a manufacturing base, believe it or not. And so we live in these zombie economies and people are underemployed and yet they're overstimulated. And so they're becoming neurotic. So yeah, I think it is like an anxiety driven thing. I don't think it's actually reflective of people's like inner conditions or whatever.
I like that quote a lot. The best cure is a job. That this is my solution to the homeless issue and the drug abuse issue in America is we build big labor camps. Okay, we round these people up and we put them to work for a year where they're supervised, where they don't get access to drugs and alcohol. They get healthy 3 meals a day, decent living conditions, but very strict, where you work your way back to health, you conquer your addictions, and then you're let go. And there's there to be like job placement help and stuff like that afterwards too. But what do you guys think about that? Are you pro labor internment camps for homeless people?
Since we are making America great again and we are bringing possibly more industry back to this country, that would be a place for them. Have the homeless make our sneakers instead of the Asian youth.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you could just do away with wage laws. And then, if you shut off migration, right? You have to shut off migration because if you do these things, if you don't shut off migration, but you drop the wage laws, then you're just going to it's going to be like Malaysia here, and so you can't have that. So obviously one has to go with the other. But yeah,
Malaysia is optimistic, man. It would be like the Congo of Republic.
Yeah, it would be a free for all. It would be
Congo, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be terrible. So yeah, but if you got rid of the wage laws, then suddenly like teenagers can get jobs for $2.50 an hour, $4 an hour, or whatever, and then businesses become profitable out of that. Like suddenly you have these cottage businesses that are sprouting up because they can hire people for a lower wage. So
makes sense to me.
Yeah.
And so we need a proper public conversation about this, because you really cannot afford to be spending the amount of money we're spending on mental health, and the ramp up of that just in these last few years has been dramatic.
If you saw my last video, TikTok's getting banned, so I'm just saying whatever comes to my mind because fuck it. I'm gonna go over the people that I hate the most in the gym today. Number one, any minority. I honestly don't know what your problem is with personal space, but if I'm doing fucking shoulder flies and I have to stop because you're walking where I'd be doing it, like wake the fuck up or go back to your country. Number two is fat people with a personal trainer. Like, man, you showing up to the gym, you actually walking into the gym is probably more exercise than you've ever done. You're gonna get results anyways, so like, don't waste the fucking money. Indians especially, because like, what the fuck is up with that smell? I'm on trend and I could not shower that day and I'd still smell better. And black people, because man, like, what are you doing in the gym? You're fucking black. You already have superior genetics.
Oh my
you
God.
like doing anything will build more muscle than me.
Based.
He had to save himself a little bit at the end there from the whole risk. He's like, oh, black people and their superior genetics.
Right.
Good,
It looks like his
pretty
head
good bit,
doesn't
though.
go with his body.
Hold on.
But yeah, I agree with him on the fat people thing, on the Indian people thing. It is funny. It's just funny. Anybody.
What do you guys think about the TikTok ban? They were down for like a total of like 12 hours. It would be funny if this guy lost his account because of this, and then TikTok just came back 12 hours later. You know?
Yeah, maybe he made this video knowing that TikTok was about to be deleted.
He said that at
anyway,
the start. He said like, I'm just gonna say whatever I want because
let me go hard on the way out.
yeah, good way to go.
Already have superior genetics. You like doing anything will build more muscle than me.
Probability that a sample contains no more than one unmarketable tomato. No more than one unmarketable tomato.
So the caption there says, my son said he's not doing well in one of his classes. I asked him why, and he sent me this.
No more than one unmarketable tomato.
Sounds like she keeps saying unmentionable.
Unmarketable tomato.
That's what I got. I got no more than one unmarketable tomato. So that's elite human capital at work there, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I had all white teachers growing up, and these were people that
I
had
never thought
particularly.
about it, but same. Now that you say that,
Yeah.
100% white. Yeah.
I mean, I don't see color, but if I could see color, I would say all mine were white too.
There you go. Yeah. I mean, when I was young, there were still some of those like World War II generation teachers, like people with actually good degrees that cared about it, and it wasn't just like boomers collecting checks. So, I mean, I can't even imagine what the young people are going through, like the horror show that the public schools are now.
I have a message for Donald Trump. Our country's not for sale. Not now, not ever. I lived across this country, and I can tell you, Canadians are a proud people. We're proud of our country, and we're ready to fight like hell to defend it. Right now, with the forest fires ravaging homes, Canadian firefighters showed up. That's who we are. We show up and support our neighbors. But if you think you can pick a fight with us, there'll be a price to pay. I've committed that if Donald Trump imposes tariffs on us, we should respond with retaliatory tariffs in kind. I think that anyone running as prime minister should do the same.
Again, his face doesn't go, the voice doesn't match the body and the head.
What do you guys think about annexing Canada? Any thoughts on that? Just.
I mean, it's a lot of Indians. It's bringing a lot of Indians and a lot of Chinese.
It is, and that is certainly a downside. But interestingly enough, if you look up the demographics, Canada is whiter than America now. So So overall, we would be slightly increasing the total percentage of white people in the population. There's a lot of Indians and Asians though if you go to certain places.
How are the ski slopes? How are the mountains?
Yeah, those are probably still pretty white, I imagine, and they're good. They have good skiing in Canada. Banff. You guys ever been to Banff? It's really nice.
Yeah.
Lake Louise.
I think that anyone running as prime minister should do the same.
Ladies, one date with this guy or single forever?
Single forever.
That's a Twitter nigga right there. That's Miles Chalk.
Wait,
he's Elon Musk's guy. I be roasting him all the time. That's why.
Airlines make.
How could they do Ian like that? That's so dirty.
Did him dirty.
Their products smaller every year. Then they blame us for not fitting. If your car got smaller every year, wouldn't you be pissed? Seats are getting smaller, seatbelts are getting shorter, and they pack us in tighter so they can make more money. But when we can't squeeze into their tiny seats, it's somehow our fault. I'm done letting airlines make us the problem when it's them causing it.
These people are obsessed with attention. That's like the long and short of it. I don't even think they know they're fucking fat. They know they take up 2 seats. They know they're inconveniencing everybody. They know that things are not being made smaller. They know that they are the ones getting bigger. It's just they love the attention. It's like the obviously male looking trans person that does a video like, I can't believe this waiter misgendered me again. It's like, you fucking know what you look like.
Yeah, they know what tree they're barking up.
Well, and how about a little bit of thought or consideration for the people who get stuck sitting next to you? You know, how about where's our empathy? I didn't pay to have these globules of flesh invading my personal space when I'm just trying to.
Well, the smell.
You're sloshing into an extra half a seat. You know, you're sloshing sometimes into my seat. You're taking up the armrest, not even with your arm, but with your back fat that's coming around the front. It's really, really not fair. I think regular sized people should be compensated like a third of the price of a seat if like one of these gastropods is sitting next to them.
Yeah, real
Facts.
Free meal, free booze, something.
Yeah.
So if you guys could change the Constitution in one way, how would you change it?
Her first gov major.
Georgetown University.
I was literally going to say legalize abortion.
Maybe abortion laws, you know?
Rights to abortion, like transgender rights to have surgery without necessarily parental consent. Yes, you have.
Chrissie, what is wrong with women? What is it?
Where do I start?
Tell us.
Straight to trans surgeries without parental consent. That's the most pressing issue at the forefront of her mind.
So yeah, our sub 18-year-old trans people can't get their penises lobbed off. That's our biggest problem right now. The truth is that women are easier to psyop, unfortunately. The same thing that makes women great is their empathy, but it's the very same thing that they can be taken advantage of for. That's why you see so many women just like kind of being like, oh, I am the spokesperson for this minority group. I am the spokesperson for this victim group. And it kind of, I think it comes from the part of a woman's brain that has this innate desire to want to like nurture and mother, and if they don't have a child, or if they don't have a cat or something, it can sometimes go on to, oh, I need to mother the trans people just in general, or the Hispanics, or like whatever group they think is lower than them that needs all this help.
It needs the nurturing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Freedom of speech, but that doesn't mean you have right to sit there and scream at someone because they choose to change their gender or they love the same sex thing.
So hate speech laws there. That's so far we have abortion, trans surgeries without consent, and hate speech laws are the changes they would make to the Constitution.
It's like that.
So should we add trans rights to the Constitution?
Absolutely.
Definitely adding in like policies that like make healthcare more accessible for like immigrants as well as like people in low-income communities.
This woman said she went to Dartmouth. Holy shit!
She's got like a demonic possession going on. I mean, she looks really unwell.
Yeah, you know, like okay, healthcare. Let's make healthcare better, sure, but then right away for immigrants specifically, for people, and immigrants is almost like synonymous with illegal immigrants at this point, isn't it? Like when you hear that, do you think of people with green cards? When she says make healthcare more accessible to immigrants, I'm not thinking of people with green cards. I'm thinking of what they like to call the undocumenteds.
Yeah, until it's easy to feel this way until one of your friends at college goes out for a run and gets raped and murdered by one of these people. Then you're not going to be like, let's get them affordable health care. You're going to be like, let's get them the fuck out of our country so we feel safe again.
Amen.
Yeah, based.
I just think we need to get the old white fucks out of power, but that's not really a constitution issue.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
Has modern beauty practices gone too far?
There's a point where as a woman, it's not enough to be a 10 anymore. You have to go past that and become a sea creature.
Yeah, what do you guys think about lip injections? I'm not a fan. And obviously this particular chick is like freakishly too far, but
it's the same thing with the mental illness. Like a lot of the women that end up getting too much work done, and there are cases of like women who just get a little bit, and it can really be a nice like enhancement to their looks or whatever. But again, if you have too much time on your hands and too much money, and you're not busy enough, you're gonna end up, if you're always just looking in the mirror, like what can I fix? What can I fix? And you have like money, you will end up in a touch of mental illness. You will end up looking like this because you're just simply not busy enough.
Yeah, or the maybe not this extreme, but just like the Instagram face. That's like a thing you start to recognize on women. You're like, oh, she's got an Instagram face.
You're like, hey, what would I look like if my face turned into a middle school desk? Wouldn't that be cool? Let's do that.
Yeah. Well, it is kind of like a status signaling thing too. Yeah, it is showing that you have excess resources that you can just put into this. So,
are her boobs gonna burst? What's happening?
I don't even want to look.
Yeah, I think she's wearing a bra. I think we're okay.
And to the U.S. government, I'm never forgiving you for this. And I'm never going to trust you ever again because...
So this is, she's crying about this is before the Tik Tok ban when she thought it was going to get banned. She's crying about that.
Does she even...
Like that.
I get so mad. I get so mad at people like this immediately because I go, do you even know what Nirvana is? Do you even listen to this band? No, you don't. You're just, you bought this sweatshirt at an Urban Outfitters, you idiot.
Right.
Away millions of people's income and livelihood. And who does that? So dumb. Coming on the internet and crying about an app, but the fact is that this has been a sense of community for me for years now, and it got me through really, really hard times in my life. The pandemic, losing my job, all of that, getting divorced, like all of this crap that's happened to me in the last 5 years since I've been on here. I'm not like rich off of it, but it has significantly helped my income every month. Hi, Halloumi. Can't believe I'm crying like this on the internet. It feels like the pandemic. I haven't done this since then. But it feels like I'm losing. It feels like I'm losing like a really good friend.
Bruh.
And that sucks.
Bruh.
Wait, TikTok is her really good friend? That's what she's saying?
Yeah.
I also hope we can move into a place as a society where we're not treating the internet like our personal diary. You can keep your worst moments to yourself. That is an option.
I remember, I don't know if you guys know Roosh V. He's not really around anymore, but he was around back in the day. He was like a pickup artist, and then he had this like spiritual conversion, and he went off to be like a Christian monk in the whatchamacallit, monastery. Maybe not literally, but basically he left the internet. But I remember watching one of his videos back in like 2016, and he said, our society is so messed up that like if a girl got banned on Instagram, she'd probably cry about it. And it shows how far we've gone that 8 years ago, that seemed kind of like an extreme reaction to cry over an app. But now when I see these women crying about TikTok, and there's a lot of videos going around like that this past week, it just seems like par for the course. Like it doesn't even really shock me or surprise me. I do wonder if they're embarrassed when the app gets reinstated 12 hours later. But other than that, I'm not like, this is so crazy. Why do you care this much about TikTok, you know? But it is kind of crazy.
She has nothing else to care about. I mean, I remember this just popping in my head as I was watching her talk, because, you know, I was gauging her intelligence level basically. And, you know, she was like a line worker at a factory. And I just had it sort of, maybe that's mean, but I had it popping in my head, like under Obama, there was a Little Debbie factory that closed. I forget where, like in Washington State or something like this. And all these boomers were in an uproar at Obama. And the wage they were making was $28 an hour at that time. So that was like 2011 or something like this. They're making $28 an hour. So that's something like $50 an hour now in today's money. And you just got to think like how much of this social media thing is because that's all there's really left in the economy. I was putting this question the other day to Stefan Molyneux, who I really like, and you know, I was asking him, what do you think about this debate that we had a couple of weeks ago on Twitter, where all these like tech bros were like, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, get a job at Panda Express, like this is still a viable economy. And, you know, he goes off on boomers, and then he appended that. He said, well, but we live in this time of unprecedented opportunity because anyone can turn on a webcam and, like, you know, get some scratch for themselves as influencers. And so then I had it popping in my head, like I saw this from Business Insider, that the average amount of money that an influencer actually makes per annum is $6,000. And so I thought, you know, like that, I mean, so that's not really a thing, right? Become an influencer. You know, like
is it kind of like, it's kind of like the OnlyFans thing, right? Where there's just like a million people doing it, and some of them aren't very successful. Sam Hyde had a line in his Vivek video where he was like, you'd probably be better off teaching your kids how to be a streamer than teaching them math or whatever for the future economy, which I thought was really funny and obviously not super serious, but not totally wrong either. You know,
it's, I mean, if we don't have manufacturing, like we're just going to basically have to count on Bitcoin saving us. And then we're just going to count on like globalization doing the specialization of labor so that like all the third worlders do like the hard work. And then we can be like artistic and leisurely in our like Bitcoin citadels in the West. Like that seems to be the only hope. So
I like it.
I think also social media, these apps have replaced like likes and comments have replaced genuine, meaningful human interaction. Like Gen Z, people aren't calling their friends anymore. They don't have they're not sitting down to talk to a friend for 40 minutes to an hour, you know, a couple times a week or something. It's all just feedback from strangers on the internet for validation.
Yeah, and when you get to this level, the likes and comments don't even do it. If I don't get like $100 super chat, I feel nothing. I'm so desensitized.
Make it 200. Yeah.
People are gonna hate me for saying this, but just listen, okay? Just listen. Giving away all the money that you made doing sinful acts does not make you a Christian. I have so many people in my comments just telling me that they'll only believe me that I'm a Christian if I give away all the sinful money I made doing porn.
All right, that's the last clip. So we're at the end of the show here. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Nala.
Nala.
This girl,
yes, she's the female cub from The Lion King, of course.
She made like $9 million on OnlyFans. And,
Holy
cow.
That much?
Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah, she's that top 0.1%, whatever. And she then very publicly converted to Christianity. It was kind of like a hot topic whether or not she was authentic. She got interviewed by like Michael Knowles of the Daily Wire, and so now people have been saying to her, like, if you've really repented, take all that sin money and give it to charity or whatever, you know. And she's like, no, I don't have to do that. So I'm just curious what your guys' thoughts are on that one.
It's hard. It's easy for people to think, oh, this woman hasn't really changed because she is still so much of a social media fixture. Like if she kind of stopped doing that and maybe she just fell out of the public eye would be like, oh wow, she's humbled, she's made a real change.
Yeah, that's how I know Roosh is for real, because he said I can't do the internet thing. I even talked to him kind of after he had left on my Sex Wars show, and I said, like, don't you miss all the attention and all that? And he said, like, yeah, sure, but what shall it profit a man to gain the world if he loses his soul, right?
Oh.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I went back and forth on this with the Tates, because the Tates did whatever they did, and then they parlayed that into a larger wealth. And I think that if I put myself in the shoes of a person like this, not her, but if I put myself in the Tate shoes, you know,
Sure.
then that money would probably eat away at my conscience, and I would eventually, and you know, I'm a good person. It would eat away at my conscience, and I'd eventually feel like I needed to do something in order to spread virtue, to make the world a better place. And I don't think the same can be said about everyone. And so if that's the standard, that you give back your ill-gotten gains, then who do we start with, right? Do we start with the people who are trying to proclaim Christ's name? Or do we go after Fauci? Do we go after Bill Gates? You know, who? So if we're setting that standard,
we can't
like
do Fauci, he's pardoned. He's got
right, true, yeah,
immunity.
he's pardoned, yeah.
Even though he has no idea what he's pardoned from, because he hasn't been charged with a crime
did nothing
yet.
wrong, of course. Yeah.
Tell that to the beagles. The dogs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the dogs in Africa.
The dogs that he covered in mosquitoes.
Bruh.
Fauci's a Mormon too.
You know, this woman could make a lot of money writing a book. You know, if she's worried about, I think even if she gave away some money to some like charity or good cause, people would appreciate that. Or maybe like create some new content, or like I would say like write a book if you're really a changed person. Like put something out there that I guess sort of proves to the other than like videos of you being baptized, which I guess. But then again, you know, does she have to please the people of the internet? I guess if she continues to be on the internet and she wants to be seen as this changed woman, then maybe she does need to like change her content a bit more.
I mean, I'm not that familiar with the content, but I will say, like, maybe the people on the internet should examine if their feelings are of envy, and maybe that should be more their primary concern.
Yes,
than worrying
they're
about
upset
somebody
that
else's money.
She gets to like show her ass and eat it too. No, I mean she gets to like have her cake and eat it too. Like she got to do the porn and keep all the money.
I don't really. I'm kind of ambiguous on the theological aspect of that. And I guess you kind of already touched on, Steve, that it's like what you know, where do you start with that? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if she wanted to make it right, you would at least, if you were her, you would want to pull other women out of the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. Well, that's all. That's the show for today. Other than super chats, we'll get through the handful of super chats here, and then we'll call it a day. If I can just figure out.
That flew by.
Yeah, it was quick.
Yeah, it was. That was fun. Okay, let me see here. Let me go to YouTube first. All right. Cheeseburger Cowboy sent €6.
Let's go.
And said, I'm absolutely soaked.
Very good. That's one of my guys, Cheeseburger Cowboy. He puts clips up of me, so he's a beloved friend of the Franssen. So.
Oh, sweet. There you go. I'll have to have you on more often, Steve. You guys are showing out with
Steve,
the money.
do you have brothers?
No, I have no brothers. I grew up with one sister.
I was going to say you could start a band with your brothers and call it Franssen, and maybe sing like Mbop or
let's go. Yeah, Franssen. I like
that.
Yeah, that's good.
You do music, right, Steve?
Yeah, I do music. Yeah, I've got an album coming out this year, and it's a good time. I love it.
Band called Franssen.
No, just me solo. But yeah, I like the Franssen name. Yeah, that's cool.
Meximan Cheese sent $5, said boomer grandma equals I never liked the hip hop rap music, but I like Tom McDonald. All the other hop artists seemed like they were going to rob me. Thanks for that. Cheeseburger Cowboy sent another €6 and said, any insights on peaceful parenting? Yeah, you wrote a book on that, right, Steve? I'll just give my 2 cents first here, since you're the expert.
Rip it.
I was not raised peaceful parenting. I'll just put it that way. I'll spare you guys the details. But for a long time, I had this attitude that you see in a lot of people where it's like, you have this kind of mentality of like, oh, that person's a fuck up because their dad never beat them. Like, I don't know if that's just a cope that you come up with, but I used to like think that about people. I think the problem is we don't spank kids anymore, kind of thing. That's why society's going to hell. But then as I got older, and especially after having my own kids who I've never had to even raise my voice at, I kind of realized like, oh, maybe it's actually just fucked up to hit your kids, and it shouldn't be happening in 99% of the situations where it's happening. But anyway, you go ahead, Steve. Give us your take on that.
Yeah, I mean, so peaceful parenting, I mean, like 99% of people that you see, and I'm prone to it at times as well, they're acting off of their emotional programming from their childhood. And so like we see this thing with millennials and they're all soft, but then you look into their childhoods and they were all put into daycare. Like daycare rates exploded for the millennials. And so their emotional programming is to bond with a rotating sort of cavalcade of new authority figures, which is like, what's that? But like, bureaucrats in the government, and like going into government offices and like complying with these people. And that's the sort of.
You're so smart. What an observation. That's like dead on. I'm gonna.
Right?
If you have a book, I'm gonna buy it.
Yo, let's go.
I don't know if I'll read it, but I'm gonna buy it.
Yeah, you'll buy it. Hey, I'll take the sale. Yeah. And if you've ever been to one of these big liberal cities where the millennials, all the hipsters like run everything, and I mean that's the vibe. It's like a daycare vibe. I mean, you even have like in Manhattan, like daycare for adults and stuff like this.
Right.
Like
They coloring in that.
Yeah.
And you have these shared office spaces, which again is kind of a daycare vibe. Yeah, I see where you're going.
Yeah. Yeah, so people are resultant of the emotional programming they receive in childhood. And so, well, some people say, well, let's make it aggressive again so we can have an aggressive society so we can deal with these problems. But peaceful parenting is this approach, it's a negotiative approach without punishment. So you're not prepping children for authorities. You're prepping them to reason, to think through things, to use principles and universals to deal with their difficult emotional stuff that may come up, and to negotiate with other people in the world. And when you get someone that's programmed like that, they end up kind of like me. Like I'm actually a pretty good example. Like, I'm an Aristotelian mean of a lot of things. Like, I'm strong, but I'm not like aggressive. I don't have any like big appetites or anything. I've done really well financially. I'm well regarded by my peers and this sort of thing. So I live the message essentially of peaceful parenting. And so I want to live in this kind of world. My life is like a dream. I mean, I could just go on and on, but I have a really wonderful life. And that's because what I did was I deprogrammed the emotional programming that I was raised with. And then through self-knowledge, I built up a new life philosophically that is to do with principles. And so that's why I can sort of champion peaceful parenting. It makes sense for me because it's something I did for myself.
Okay, let me ask you something, Steve, because I have a son who's 3.5, and he has these occasional emotional meltdowns, and where he'll just yell and yell. And we've been struggling with it. I put him in a timeout for the first time ever. I was like, "You're going in a timeout, buddy. You're going in your crib," and I feel like trying to like when he's in one of these states, like trying to sit down and have like a dialogue just isn't gonna fly. So what is your advice? Like, is it just a matter of doing the dialogue when he's calm at some other time, or?
No, so he's angry. I mean, he's melting down, so that's anger. So you ask him what he's angry about, and he's 3 years old, so he's not gonna fully have the language. So you just have to be patient with that. But you just ask him what he's angry about, and you accept whatever he tells you, and then you help him through that. So,
Steve, what if he says the Jews? Then what do you say?
He says,
High five
says the
him.
juice. Yeah.
I don't know, man, because like obviously we try to talk to him, but he'll just keep yelling the same thing over and over. I don't know if it's a touch of the tism or what, but it's
no, you have to ask. I mean, you have to ask with curiosity, right? Talking to a person to manage them, to say, well, your behavior, like I need to talk to you and kind of like manage that and make that, I need to contain that. People don't like being treated that way. So a kid, if you ask them with curiosity, just to know what's going, and curiosity is an open-ended thing, right? And it's a dialogue. Then if you have credibility, you may or may not, to whatever extent you do, like I have max credibility with my kids. And so when I ask with curiosity, they give me the answer. But if you're making the transition to peaceful parenting, you don't necessarily have the credibility, they may not tell you right up front. And so then there's this lag time and people get frustrated with that. But you just learn to sit with it. And eventually when you have the credibility by showing consistent curiosity, they'll give you the answers. They'll be more forthright with you more readily.
Cool.
It works, baby.
I might have to buy the book too. The Prip Master put $2 on €2 again. A lot of euros. Or what is the deal with that? You're in Montana. Why? I don't know. He said Canadians look weird today. I don't know if that's a comment on the demographics that we were touching on, or the NDP sick guy who was
it was the Jagmeet Singh.
Yeah, Jagmeet Singh. Yeah. But thank you for the £2. I could go off on how Canadians look weird, but I will just spare you. And Meximan She sent $5 and said, "LOL, silly Canadian. We aren't planning on buying Canada." Yeah. And then Sneaky Pete sent $10 and said, "Shout out to Chrissie. I used to think that women were not funny and not very smart. Then I saw Chrissie on a podcast. It opened my eyes to redheads being cute." Let's tone down the simping a little bit.
Oh, no, simp away.
He also says, "Still undecided on girls being funny or smart thing though." Oh, and hey, Steve.
Yeah, you could take that on a one-on-one basis. I understand.
Yeah. I have to say, I thought you were really funny today when we were doing the golden one bit, and you were talking about him and his superior genetics and not being cold in this week. I thought that was quite funny. I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, spin. Oh yeah.
I think that's it. Let me check Odyssey, Streamlabs. Yeah, I think that's it for today. So that's basically the show. I always like to end on giving you guys a chance to do plugs or tell people what kind of things you have coming in the future. Of course, I put links under the description for their X accounts, and for Chrissie, her YouTube channel, and for Steve, I put his locals because I think that's like your main place. But Steve, why don't you tell people anything you want to say, really, any final thoughts or plugs or whatever?
Yeah, I just appreciate being on the show. You can catch me further. I like to do a lot of videos where I'm like walking on a treadmill. My brain gets all the verbal centers get all activated, and I just get walking, I get talking, and I do a lot of just unusual commentary. I don't think there's anything quite like it. But you can catch that over at franssen.locals.com. Otherwise, you can find me on Twitter or X at Steve Franssen. I'm usually like saber rattling about immigration on there, and we do a little shit posting, So, but yeah, I'm really happy to be on here. I'd love to come back again. It was great hanging with you guys, and it was a fun show.
Definitely. And
check out my new show. It's me on an elliptical.
Let's go.
Very cool. No, this was great. Love to come back anytime. I enjoy you both very much. Just subscribe to my YouTube channel. I do one-on-one interviews with interesting people, sometimes censored folks. Well, not so much anymore in this golden era of Trump. But I'll do interviews with people, and I have a show every Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern called Simpcast. It's like a panel show. And then every Friday you can catch me on Nerdrotic's YouTube channel for Friday Night Tights at 4 p.m. And I will be going back on the road to do stand-up once the baby is done nursing. So hopefully later this year. But it's up to him. And when his teeth come in.
Nice.
All right. Thank you to both my guests. You guys were great. Thanks for coming. Thanks to the audience for watching. Special thank you to everybody who sent super chats. Really appreciate the support. Everybody enjoy the rest of your day, and we will catch you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.